At the time of recording, it is patch day, and we've just had a new update that has added a new Werewood Tree overhaul and also a new rule set for CCS. Now, this is actually the second time I've recorded this video, because I recorded it the first time, and it was like 35 minutes, because I was explaining all the rules in such depth, and I'm not going to do that again, because explaining all of these one by one, I imagine if you are watching this video, is fairly irrelevant. So there are two primary changes to the event. One is a personal elimination reward being introduced, which will now give you a new way, aside from level 6 horses, of obtaining battle diamonds to awaken your gear with. If you only kill T4s, this final reward will be unlocked at 360,000 T4 troops. I don't know yet if these are accumulative, so say if you get 1.5 mil elims, if you'll get the 20, the 30, the 40, and the 60, or if you'll only get the highest tier you get to. I guess we'll only know that in about 3 weeks' time from the time of recording this. If it is accumulative, that will be very good and will be an insane way of getting battle diamonds and strengthening your account. I would be surprised if it was, to be honest, and if it wasn't just the highest tier, but we'll see. The bracketing of the matchmaking, I believe, is the same. The top 3 for castle holding time is the same as before. All the titles systems, I believe, are the exact same. All the limiting factors about how Champion Conqueror is assigned and joining alliances with other Champion Conquerors and whatnot, I believe are also all the exact same. So the main difference and the main point of this video is the changes here. And basically just wondering, how is this going to change the event? Because CCS historically, it's so difficult to play for most alliances. So if we look at like the top alliances in the game, you'll often see all the CCS brackets mostly dominated by the top like 3-4 alliances. There are very few alliances that have accounts strong enough to compete with even like the decentralized parts of ATD or DEP, of FDH, of WTP, when they're not merged into DEP for UC, and it's pretty much just a whale event. The mid-tier alliances can't really do anything in the event at all, and most people just ignore it as a result, to be honest, including my alliance. We've always just ignored this event because we just have never had the rally leads to really do anything of relevance at all. The main function of this event for people like me or alliances like my own historically has been dropping power. So you can join in after you balloon up for a nobility rank, and you can take rallies deliberately, you can solo stuff because you can't lose your lord in CCS. Interestingly, I don't think that is actually listed in this rule set right now. But even if it wasn't part of the rule set, it's not really relevant because you can't hit castles anymore anyway. But that main function of dropping power will no longer be possible. For the most part, won't be possible because starting or taking rallies and solos on castles directly is now impossible. The only thing you can interact with is the great city itself. And this event is now going to more closely mirror like a giant Alliance Conquest event, more so than a castle siege event. The mechanics of the rally leader, how the building is taken with a bubble mechanic as seen here, how the reinforcements are done with a participation limit of 30 rather than a troop limit, the way the rally size is determined with the 1 million fixed amount plus the rally size. It's all concepts that are just being copy-pasted across from AC more so than Castle Siege. I am, however, fairly reticent to say it will play like AC in any way, and I'll reveal why when I go down this list a bit. So first of all, the uncapped hospital has been removed. I know a lot of people didn't like that change. It's now totally gone. It's just normal hospitals, normal casualty rate as far as I can see. Can't hit people's castles. You get merit as normal. You get elimination points, which you'll get the battle diamonds with. Dragon skills can't be used against enemy players. I believe this means now people can't be blockaded and stuff like that. You just can't interact with players' castles whatsoever. but it's this other rules bit where the AC stuff starts to come into play. So players can initiate multi-army rallies on great cities. What this means is previously, if I start a rally on a player right now, if someone else starts a rally on that same player at the same time, it will give them an error message saying like your alliance is already rallying this target or something to that effect. Whereas in something like AC, you can just have 20 rally leaders rally Castle Rock at once, and you can send them all at the same time and time them off that. This is how it will now function in CCS. So you can see here when there are more than 2 armies and a rally, the rally initiator can immediately depart. This means that, unlike previously in CCS, where you'd have to wait the whole timer of your rally out, there were the 2-minute rally timers in CCS, so it wasn't as bad as like World PvP, but you would still have to wait a decent amount of time for your rally to actually send. Now you can just fill the rally and click the attack now button. You can bugle it in off that and then send it back and then just keep repeating that process. I think this is maybe, honestly, when you think of it practically, the biggest change here. I'll explain why and examples of how I see practical situations going after I go through all of these. You can recall armies from other people's rallies, so there won't be any situations of asking someone to send you back. You can just send back yourself. The way stats are applied to buildings after you take something, just like AC, it will get a 2-minute bubble on first capture, which, if we're being honest, means the meta of this game mode is going to be handing out max account logins to scripters and racing people into buildings off them. You can, however, do slow march swaps, so you can have a racer race in, have your rally lead slow march, have everyone queue reinforcements, disband on a countdown, speed everything in at once, and you'll swap onto that bigger rally lead, just like AC. So swapping is possible here. 30 reinforcement limit, just like AC. The 1 million fixed army size plus rally size means that it will be meta for building holders to cut army size out of their refinement, actually, because it will just be the 1 million rather than their own army size. I'm not sure how many people will be willing to do this, but now this will affect both AC and CCS, so you could see big whales cutting army size a bit more consistently. It would actually be quite beneficial in situations like this. It will obviously just be way worse in soloing, world PvP rallying, where your own army size takes effect and whatnot. And then everything else is just what you'd expect and know from AC already. So if you disband a building and someone else takes it, it won't then be bubbled. It's all just the exact same concepts as AC as we know it. So what I've seen most of all in terms of a reaction to this is, one, good change, which I actually do agree with. I do quite like this as a tweak to the rule set. I've seen people say it's intended to promote centralization. So right now you see the likes of FDH, WTP, ATD in the past, although they're more focused on K18 right now. A lot of these top alliances are very split across kingdoms, even my own. I think we only have like 40 people in our home kingdom right now. So the theory is, because you can do multi-army rallies, you'll need more rally leaders, you'll need more fillers, so you need more people on that kingdom. And that's sort of the train of thought I've noticed from a decent chunk of people. There's people saying they're more willing to participate in it because of battle diamonds now. And like 360k T4s isn't that crazy, to be honest. Like, you can quite easily get that if you're joining a strong enough rally lead and you're just like piggybacking off their stats. You'll take a decent amount of deaths yourself, but you can get that every month and just keep improving your gear through that. So I do think this alone will help improve the activity in CCS, because it was a really dead event for a very long time. You just never see anyone playing it, to be honest. It's just people coming to deals. Like in this was my bracket. I think it was like Ortizio and Asterix were in FDH on 2 separate kingdoms. They were bracketed together. You then had Phil from M3O on 157 and Chidori in AGS. It was looking like those 2 factions were sort of going to fight against each other, Ortizio and Asterix against Phil and Chidori, I believe. Then Wise Joker and his group ported in, and it all just came to diplomatic agreements to assign rankings, have no fighting, we won't hit you if you don't hit us, and just nothing happened at all. And that's fine, but I guess it's not it's not the point of the event, it's not what they're going for with it. So I guess from the developers' minds, it's how do they promote people playing the event. So I think the Battle Diamonds is a really good step in the right direction, because for fillers there just was nothing in it for you at all, to be honest. So this is good. Then it's how the AC rallying mechanics actually play out in practice. And this is where I have a lot of doubts over how this will actually work, because the idea that it will promote centralization, it will encourage people to participate, I think people are imagining this like it's going to play like AC. So the example I've used to people in my alliance to sort of visualize this is, say us in WTF are faced off against Ash. It's like K4 versus K21 in CCS. There's somehow no one else in our bracket, which is never going to happen, but just as a hypothetical. So it's K21 WTF against K4 Ash. We win the race. We get our biggest rally leader in here, so we get Joseph into the building. We fill him up to 40 million troops inside with all our fillers. We have everyone going hard to keep them topped off. How I think people are envisioning this is it would have, say, Ash try and get their, I don't know, top 10, 15 rally leads, rally the building, and time the rallies and try and take it in one go, like it's an AC match. But because casualty rate exists still, this just isn't plausible. Like, you're not going to send losing rallies because people won't fill them. They won't keep sending their troops to their death for no reason. I mean, just for the human element alone, there's no point to do that. But even just from a logistical standpoint, they don't have the resources, they don't have the speed ups to actually sustain that. So it's not plausible. How I envision something like K21 against K4 in CCS going with these rules would probably be Joseph gets in, then because you can send rallies early now, as it shows here in number 2 under this other rules tab, what would happen is they'd just fill barrack rallies, they'd fill it in like 20 seconds, they'd bugle it in, kill like 5 mil troops, and it will be a disproportionate amount of troops because he has 4-star Night King, so he'll exaggerate the existing casualty rate. He'd then speed it back, start another rally, and he'd just keep spamming rallies in over and over and over and over again until we just say, no, we're done. We can't keep filling and taking these losses. That it's just not worth it for us. And if that's the case, all this stuff about the AC mechanics are basically irrelevant, because it would just become a battle of attrition, and it sort of just has that element of GB where you just become whale fodder. I do think it's a step in the right direction, but as long as the casualty rate exists, it's just too hard to participate in. I think you will have participation purely because of this reward system. So if we're against a non-max account alliance in our bracket, we could at worst join and do like 1 or 2 rallies on the Great City just to get everyone these battle diamonds. And I think that will probably be the most common thing in CCS now, is people will join and just do like non-threatening rallies on the likely winner just to farm these battle diamonds. And there will be action through that. But in terms of the winner, in terms of fighting over first, I think it would just be the exact same as it's always been. Because the attritional element is just fairly mental. To think of how many troops these accounts could kill with like 7.5 mil bugle rallies into a 30 participant limit. And they just spam it in, speed back, fill as soon as possible, speed it in again and again and again and again. The amount of deaths there could be from that would be insane. They've added the attack now button with real casualties. That is scary, honestly. That is scary. So I still think it's gonna be a whale event. It's still gonna be having the same issues it previously had. I think more people will play it because of the rewards. But in terms of a long-term fix, I think you have to remove the casualty rate, or at least bring it down to something like the Fiery Mine casualty rate. I think that could actually be quite a nice balance of still giving some form of merit and elimination points, but then you get into the awkward part about the tokens for badges, and I don't really know how to balance that, but you could just tweak the numbers there. Because as long as people are going to be losing millions and millions of troops, it's just going to be very hard to get people participating to any large degree in this. But maybe I'm wrong, because we for sure have not seen this in practice yet from anyone. Some of these rules could not play out as they're actually listed. So I guess we'll see. If there's anything I've missed, feel free to talk about it below. This for sure is not a video where I'm like, I've got this all figured out. Listen to me. This is how you do it. This is how it's going to be played. It's just a discussion video, really, because this is clearly something the developers are trying to tweak. They're trying to promote activity in. So for you watching right now, will these rules actually change how you approach CCS? And if they do, is it these rules here where it's more similar to AC, or is it just them adding elimination rewards, basically, which is, I think, where I am at right now. I will play it as much as possible now, but pretty much only for this. It's not because of this. The only part of this which makes it easier for me is the fact that max accounts can't solo my city, so I can get these rewards a lot easier than I would have been able to with the previous rewards, because I do not win solos against max accounts, and I'm assuming most of you watching this video do not also.